This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
And the time right now is 4:27 here on your Tuesday morning. Want to thank you for starting your day with us here at RTV6. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. Chances are your child is either back to school or heading back to school here in the next week or so. So our reporters this morning are looking into two major topics that have parents talking every single school year. The safety of your children from the moment they step onto the bus and step onto that campus, when they're inside those classrooms, what schools are doing across Central Indiana to keep your children safe.
Yeah, especially with all of the bus crash stories we've heard about, kids getting hit, getting to the bus. So this has been a big topic for lawmakers as well. So we're taking a look at that, plus how much it costs to send your kids back to school. Always a topic with parents, obviously.
How much should you spend? What, what the priorities should be.
Definitely. So we'll check in with our reporters, Aaron and Alyssa, on both of those topics today. Very timely with all the kids heading back to the classroom. Another story that has to do with heading back to school is your child safe in the school building if a tornado were to strike? This is a topic that came up because you may remember earlier this summer on a Saturday, Beech Grove High School had its roof ripped off when a tornado hit in that area. A lot of damage to that building, and we're thinking, thankfully this wasn't during the school day, but what if it was? What are some of the safeguards in place? And so our Call 6 investigates Kara Kenny looking into this issue for school, because we know when you send your kids off, you want to know that they're safe.
Yeah, and Kara Kenny looking into the school district now considering tornado shelters. I mean, we are right in the heart of where tornadoes hit. Yeah. So is it something other schools will start to think of as well?
Yes.
Speaking of the weather, thankfully, no severe weather in sight for us the rest of the week, Todd.
Yeah, you know, we got some needed rainfall yesterday. There's still some spotty downpours out there right now, and that'll continue off and on throughout the day today. But yeah, no severe weather, and really, once we get past today, no threat of rain in the forecast either. Look at these temperatures. We're in the 60s and 70s right now. It's mild, it's muggy, with a heavy rain pushing towards the Richmond area as well as Connorsville. And we can't rule out the chance of a shower really at any point here throughout the morning. And then gradually as the day goes on, we'll start to thin these clouds out just a little bit. It's mild and it's muggy here today with a high temperature of 84 degrees. But yeah, once we get past today, I really think you're going to like the forecast. It's going to take us, hard to believe, all the way into the first full weekend of August.
Wow.
By the end of the week.
All right, Todd, looking forward to that. Thank you so much. Well, something else we're all looking forward to here at RTV6 is the State Fair. And the fair kicks off this Friday, and that's also RTV6 Day at the Indiana State Fair. And there's our own Todd Clausen with some llamas and Alyssa with some bees. So we're going to highlight the people at the fair that matter the most, and that's the farmers. And also it's Heroes in the Heartland. So a lot of fun coming up at the State Fair. We'll tell you all about that. Again, RTV6 Day is on Friday. So we'll give you a preview of the State Fair. That's all coming up right here in Good Morning Indiana.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
An Indiana business owner is hoping to curb underage vaping. Now at 4:30, the plan that now has him turning away some of his customers.
Plus, the California company is putting roots down in the Circle City. This morning, how many new Hoosiers the company could be hiring.
And an Indiana school district putting restrictions on where its buses can travel. This morning, why school leaders are passing on the opportunity to take one busy interstate. It's 4:30 on your Tuesday morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Meredith Barrick.
And I'm Lauren Casey. Todd Clausen is with us this morning with a look at your forecast. And boy, Todd, I heard Alyssa say this yesterday that we were going to get storms in the afternoon. Left the umbrella up, outside. Because we just haven't had rain in so long. I kind of forgot I have to do those preparations.
Heavy downpours, that's
heavy downpours.
Yeah, I know. I was flying in yesterday right after those storms went through, and it was a little rough. And we needed the rainfall. We got it without the threat of severe weather, so that's always the good news. And there's still a few isolated downpours out there right now, and it's over towards the Richmond and Connorsville area this morning with a little bit of lightning. Again, nothing severe, but the heavy rain just to the west of the city of Richmond. So you'll be getting into this rainfall shortly here this morning. Then some downpours near Rushville over towards Newcastle as well. But this one's really, for the most part, the only game we have in town here as far as the rain goes currently this morning. There's a few more spotty showers back towards the Greencastle area. And so we're just really in this unsettled air mass still. The front's still kind of lingering across the area. So especially once the sun comes up, up, it's not out of the question that we could start to flare some additional downpours up. So we have to keep those in the forecast for you here, at least through the first half of the day. 60s and 70s this morning as we work our way throughout the day today. It'll be a little bit of a slow process, but gradually we start to thin the clouds out. The further we get throughout the day, our rain chances actually decrease. That's the good news, with high temperature today of 84 degrees. The time now is 4:31. Let's get a first look at traffic on this Tuesday morning.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Take a look up here on the northwest side. This is our INDOT traffic camera at I-465 and I-865. This is a construction zone area. Just so you know, we have the ramp blocked right now for some road work northbound I-465 to westbound I-865. That's scheduled to be closed until Sunday, August 25th. So just keep that in mind if you're traveling in that area. You can use I-65 as a detour, and it looks like everything here is traveling smoothly. Let's take a look right now, though, at I-70 and the Sam Jones Expressway. You'll notice here no cars on the roads, and that's because this is part of that I-70 closure. I-70 closed in both directions between the South Split downtown and I-465 on the west side. A lot of backups along the detour route yesterday, so just use caution. Give yourself plenty of extra time to get around this major closure.
At 4:32, a local business is turning down some of its customers with the hopes of curbing underage teen vaping. The sign on the door at Fog Foundry Vape Lounge reads, "Must be 19 to enter." The legal age to buy e-cigarettes is 18. Vaping products serve as an alternative to cigarette smoking. They don't have tobacco, but they do contain nicotine. Fog Foundry owner Chad Meyer says he's concerned about others in the industry making a profit off of kids who are still in high school.
18-year-olds are definitely more of a connection, because if you look, how many 18-year-olds do you know that are seniors in high school? There's several. There's very few 19-year-olds that are in high school.
One of the primary factors that we're really concerned about is the fact that nicotine affects the adolescent brain pretty significantly, and that goes on into the mid-20s. It can cause things like learning difficulties, concentration problems, mood disorders, and things like that. So it's very concerning on how nicotine affects the brain.
Last month, a bill raising the age to buy e-cigarettes to 21 nationwide passed out of committee. The bill is sponsored by Indiana Senator Todd Young. It would also raise the age for purchasing tobacco products to 21.
It is 4:34. A company led by a West Side native will call Indianapolis home. eHealth Incorporated announcing plans to establish a new technology and operations headquarters near I-465 and Keystone Parkway. The plan also includes employing 500 people by the end of 2023. eHealth is a private online health insurance exchange. The company started back in 1997, led by Scott Flanders.
I come from Indiana, as I said. I built a business here earlier in my career. And one thing I know about Hoosiers, if you treat them well, they'll be loyal. And we believe that we will have the strongest set of tenured sales agents in the eHealth system.
Well, the Indiana Economic Development Corporation offered eHealth around $11 million in conditional tax credits and $200,000 in training grants based on the company's job creation plans. With the latest round of tech jobs announced, Hiring Hoosiers is talking to students who are prepared to go into that field. At IUPUI, the Indianapolis STEM Project is a gateway for high school students who want to explore a career in technology. The product gives high schoolers hands-on experience and builds relationships between students and potential future employers.
It's all about making connections, so the more you talk to people, the more likely you are to be able to find your niche, and there are plenty of options available.
We're very blessed. Indianapolis does a very nice job at preparing students. We recruit from the best, and we take the best further, and I have noticed a growth in support and a growth of qualified applicants, so our future is looking bright.
IUPUI leaders say they've noticed an increase in students interested in STEM jobs.
What does the Mexican drug cartel have to do with a major stretch of highway that tens of thousands of us drive every day? In the past, I-65 was known as the heroin highway. Now a new show is uncovering another drug that's making its way up and down the 887-mile stretch of road. A&E show 60 Days in Narcoland follows 6 undercover people along I-65 for a first-hand look at how drug cartels have infiltrated southern Indiana. Clark County Sheriff Jamie Noel says in the past, heroin was the big drug, but now authorities are finding it's meth.
What I think people are going to expect to see is they're going to understand how cartels infiltrate our country, and they pump in high volumes of low-cost drugs. And what we've seen here locally, we've seen a decline of a lot of locally produced drugs now where the Mexican cartels can produce it so much cheaper and infiltrate it in up I-65 corridor from the south to the north and then east to west.
Sheriff Noel says when heroin overdoses started rising, cartels switched to meth because those drugs didn't have the same tarnished reputation. Noel says the show also exposes what addicts go through. He says the most successful drug dealers are the ones who don't use the drugs themselves. The Catholic Church in Indianapolis facing another lawsuit this morning.
A former guidance counselor at Roncalli High School suing the Archdiocese and the school. Lynn Starkey claims she was discriminated against because of her sexual orientation and that she faced a hostile work environment. Starkey is married to a woman, which goes against the teachings of the Catholic Church. Her lawsuit also claims both the Archdiocese and Roncalli retaliated against her after she filed a complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Well, the Archdiocese of Indianapolis released a response saying, in part, quote, Ms. Starkey signed a contract acknowledging her role as a leader and committing to promote Catholic teaching, including the traditional Catholic teaching on marriage. She knowingly violated that contract by entering into a same-sex civil union. Earlier this month, a former Cathedral High School teacher who was fired because he's married to a man filed a lawsuit against the Archdiocese as well.
The body of an infamous bank robber will be exhumed from his burial place in central Indiana. John Dillinger's gravesite is at Crown Hill Cemetery in Indianapolis. The State Department of Health approved a request from Dillinger's nephew to disinter the body. We're working to learn the reason behind this request. Dillinger was born in Indianapolis in 1903. He and his gang allegedly robbed more than 20 banks and 4 police stations in the early 1930s. Police shot him to death in Chicago in 1934.
It is 4:38. An Indiana school district says that a busy highway is too dangerous for its school buses. Vigo County Schools in Terre Haute announcing on Monday its buses are no longer allowed to travel on Interstate 70. School leaders say a significant number of crashes between Indianapolis and the Illinois state line is the cause for concern. Under the new policy, athletic teams will still use I-465 and I-65 to get to events around the Circle City.
Here's your reminder as a Hoosier tradition gets underway later this week. The Indiana State Fair starts its 17-day run on Friday, which also happens to be our TV6 day at the fair. We'll be broadcasting live from the fair throughout the day, starting here with Good Morning Indiana. We'll share with you the sights and sounds of opening day, which includes Band Day. We'll also bring you the stories of the people who are the backbone of the fair, the farmers. Again, join us for our TV6 day at the fair on Friday.
Looking forward to that. Democratic presidential candidates are gearing up for round 2 of the debates starting tonight. Just after the break, how a new poll ranks the candidates heading into the night. Todd.
And Lauren, we continue to deal with some isolated downpours here across the area. You notice some heavy rainfall still over here in the Richmond area. That storm will be moving out of Indiana shortly, but more storms are possible throughout the day. We'll talk all about it in your Storm Team 6 forecast. The time now is 4:40. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Diabetes.org/Indiana Tour. Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. We're keeping a close eye on your roads this morning. Let's take a live look here at I-69 and State Road 37 in Hamilton County. Traffic in this area is moving smoothly. Of course, we'll keep a close eye on your roads and let you know if there are any crashes or delays.
After spending most of the past month in jail, rapper A$AP Rocky goes on trial today in Sweden. He's charged with assault for a street fight. Rocky, whose real name is Rakim Mayers, maintains he acted in self-defense. The trial is scheduled to continue all week. Right now, the stage is set for the second round of the Democratic presidential debates.
Yeah, and once again, bringing 20 candidates together over the course of 2 different nights. ABC's Trevor Ault is in Detroit with a look ahead at what we can all expect.
It's time for round 2. Beginning tonight, the second wave of debates in the quest for the Democratic presidential nomination. The candidates once again split up over 2 nights, all trying to knife through an extremely crowded field. Heading into night 1, a new Quinnipiac poll shows former Vice President Joe Biden expanding on his lead, now with 34% support, up from 22% at the beginning of the month. Senator Elizabeth Warren is in second at 15%, with Senator Kamala Harris appearing to lose her first debate bump Trump, dropping to 12% from 20. Senator Bernie Sanders in fourth at 11%. The frontrunner Biden seems to have shaken off what was regarded as a lackluster performance in the first debate. Senator Warren says these debates won't be about taking swipes at other Democrats.
We all have a chance to talk about our vision for America, to talk about our plans for America, to talk about how we see building a future in this country.
One area where those proposed policies will likely get a lot of focus is health care. Senator Harris releasing her plan.
In fact, under our Medicare for All plan, there will be no more co-pays. There will be no more deductibles.
But she's already been met with criticism for the plan's details. The Biden campaign saying she's committing to unraveling the Affordable Care Act, while Senator Sanders' campaign manager says, call it whatever you want, but you can't call this plan Medicare for All.
After seeing the boost Senator Kamala Harris got for taking on Vice President Joe Biden in the first debate, it's possible we could see more fireworks and more sparring tonight and tomorrow, especially among the struggling candidates who are trying to break into the spotlight. Trevor Ault, ABC News, Detroit.
Time right now, 4:45. The measles outbreak in the United States is not slowing down. The number of cases is now reaching 1,164. That's according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. That's an increase of 16 cases from the previous week. Cases have been confirmed in 30 states. The CDC says measles can be prevented with the MMR vaccine and is safe and effective.
More than 500,000 low-income students could lose free meals due to proposed changes to the nation's food stamp program. That's according to Democratic Congressman Bobby Scott of Virginia, who chairs the House Committee on Education and Labor. Scott also says the Department of Agriculture concealed data that revealed the cuts to free student meals. In a letter to Agriculture Secretary Sonny Perdue, Scott says the impact on school meal eligibility wasn't included in the administration's proposal for revising who qualifies for food stamps. Under the proposed changes, more than 3 million people could lose SNAP benefits. The new school year is starting soon for some Hoosier students, and it can be stressful for families. Almost half of parents say they feel pressured to overspend on school supplies. Clothes, shoes, maybe even a new laptop. The findings come from Bankrate, who says the stress is equal to holiday shopping season. The good news is the majority aren't willing to take on debt for school items. Experts say make sure you budget, even bring only cash to the store.
And maybe look at some cheaper ways to acquire these items. There are a lot of resale sites, things like Poshmark and eBay and even Craigslist, things like that. You might be able to get things gently used at a huge discount.
Bankrate says it might be smart to hold off on buying some items, especially if you have more expensive items, like for a college student. It is 4:47 right now, and Todd, you have a fabulous forecast ahead for us.
Yeah, once we get past the first few hours today, or the first half of the day, I guess we probably should say, we have a great forecast going forward for the remainder of the week. Outside right now, it's still kind of damp. It's still kind of dreary. As you look to the north, you can kind of see these clouds moving pretty quickly across the area. 70 degrees, that is the current temperature. The dew point's up near 70 degrees as well. So when the actual temperature and the dew point are very close to each other, that means the air is almost completely saturated. And that's why we have that muggy feeling out there. And then look at this, sunset tonight, 9 o'clock. Come tomorrow, sunset will be before 9 o'clock as we push closer to the month of August. Tomorrow's the last day of July. 69 in Richmond right now. 71 is the current temperature as you make your way into the Bloomington area. 68 in Lafayette and Peru and Tipton, you're at 74 degrees. So we're still kind of unsettled. We had those storms move through yesterday, and that front's still lingering off towards the east. And that's why we are dealing with some heavy rainfall right now, still near Hagerstown, Cambridge City, some heavy rain. This is pushing towards Richmond, where a light rain is falling. But you too, as this storm moves off towards the east, are going to get into that heavy rain from Richmond and really right along US 27 south towards the Liberty area, where there is some heavy rain just south of town over towards Connorsville and Fairview. We're dealing with some downpours, and as we slide to the north, some spotty, you have to look pretty close to your rain showers, not quite as heavy near Portland, down through the Winchester area, and then back over towards Muncie. So that storm is moving through, and you'll wake to skies that'll be partly to mostly cloudy cloudy across the area, but we have this, again, very humid air mass that is in place. And what we need this front is to work its way even further off towards the east, but it's a pretty slow-moving front, to be honest with you. It's not really going to even get to New York until the day tomorrow. So while that's close, we'll maintain the threat of some isolated downpours flaring up. We're not looking at a lot of rainfall throughout the day today. But once the sun does come up, that'll add some instability to the atmosphere, and that's why we'll flare up a few of these downpours. So today you probably want to have the umbrella in the car, but by no means will you need it at all times throughout the day today. Skies will be mostly cloudy here across the area, and then as we go throughout the afternoon hours, we're looking at temperatures that'll be in the mid-80s, but it will be humid, so rather uncomfortable throughout the day today, humidity-wise. Then this evening is when we finally start to clear the clouds out as temperatures eventually fall back down into the 70s. Now tomorrow, it's the start of a great stretch of weather. We get the sunshine back, the humidity will be down as well, and we're looking at a temperature that'll be right around 82 degrees. So here's a look at your 7-day planning forecast as we work our way through Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Skies will be mostly sunny, so start making those outdoor plans now. And honestly, it's just a very typical weather pattern here for the end of July, beginning of August. Our average high is 84. We'll be right around that on Thursday, then just a notch or two above that as we get into the weekend with overnight lows falling back down into the 60s, and that's also right on par for this time of year after today. The next chance of maybe a few spotty storms does not arrive in this forecast until Monday.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Here's a live look at your roads. This is up on the northwest side. We told you about this earlier. Just a reminder, northbound I-465 to westbound I-865. We have ramp work in that area, so you'll need to avoid that until August 25th. Let's take a look at our Traffic Now map. Taking a look here at a closure. We mentioned this yesterday. Eastbound US 36, that's closed between State Road 234 and State Road 9. You can see the red there on our map, so avoid that area. I-69 could be your detour. Again, we just mentioned this thing on the northwest side of town, ramp work here, so you'll need to avoid that spot. And then the I-70 closure, you can see how it's blocked in both directions between the South Split and I-465. Let's take a look in that area right now. You can see no cars getting through. This is part of that construction project lasting through August 5th. Give yourself extra time because the detour routes on I-465 and I-65 tend to get a little backed up.
TSA agents find an odd item in a man's checked luggage after the break. Why he says it was there in the first place. But first,
I'm Vinny Politan. Today on Court TV, our continuing live coverage of Florida versus Grant Amato. He's been charged in the deaths of his mother, father, and his brother. He is facing the death penalty. So today, inside the courtroom, prosecutors winding down their case, some of their final witnesses as they try to prove that Grant murdered his own family. Then we look forward to the defense case. Grant Amato's going to have to make a decision. Will he or won't he testify? Our live coverage continues today from Sanford, Florida.
And don't forget, you can watch Court TV live on your mobile device by visiting CourtTV.com. Good Morning Indiana. We'll be right back after the break.
This is working for you.
you will not believe what TSA officials in Baltimore discovered inside one man's luggage.
A missile launcher. Yeah, the TSA says officers detected the missile launcher while screening checked luggage at the Baltimore airport. They called the airport police, who tracked down that passenger. The Texas man told officials that he was a service member traveling home from Kuwait. He apparently wanted to keep the missile launcher as a souvenir, but military weapons are not allowed in checked or carry-on bags. Go figure. You would think that someone in the military would know that, but
I want to know how big his suitcase was to fit a
or
missile
if it was
launcher.
under 50 pounds.
I think that was it. It was in the container that you saw there.
Oh, gotcha. Sorry, I don't.
Interesting.
I don't use missile launchers very often, so I'm not sure, you know.
And it wasn't mine. I flew out of Baltimore yesterday.
Okay, so
there you go.
All right.
I wasn't in there. All right, here's your 7-day planning forecast. A few spotty storms possible throughout the day today. Nothing severe, but it's a day you may want to have the umbrella handy, kind of that tropical-like feel today with the humidity around. So we'll flare up some of these downpours pretty quickly. But once we get past today, smooth sailing in the forecast with lots of sunshine and temperatures very seasonable in the mid-80s. The time now is 4:57. Stay with us. We'll be back here in just a few minutes.